Hey everyone, welcome back to Covetous Imp Gaming. Happy New Year. This week we're going to be answering some viewer questions and talking about what's coming up in the year in Dungeons & Dragons. If you haven't done so already, please like this video, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment below, and check us out on Facebook and Patreon. Those links are down below. So my first question was, what goals do I have for myself in this new year? So for me, I always want to be getting better. I always want to be improving on how I DM for players. So getting feedback from players on things that they like, things that they don't like, and making those improvements so that games are enjoyable for everyone, not just a select few people. My next question was, what goes into prepping? So a few hours before my session starts, I will usually sit down and identify if I need to use specific warlock tiles, what minis I'm going to need, and really try to plan out options A and B on terrain and story, and then really just trying to figure out C through Z as people try to be creative and do their own thing. And obviously, I can't plan for every scenario, but at least from where the story's going, A and B are usually pretty easy to plan. The next question was, what goes into my DM screen and what's on the inside of it? Usually, I will have a list of like words that like descriptor words that are basically to describe something, a smell, sight, things like that. If my party's going into a settled area, I'll have a list of names that fit that area, so that if the shopkeeper needs a name or a guard needs a name, I can quickly pull from that list and here's this person's name. If I'm running a pre-written campaign that has one of the like special made DM screens, I'll usually keep that up on the inside of my screen as well, because they usually have like for Curse of Strahd, for example, they have Barovian names and a large map of Barovia that is easy to quickly access. My next question was, what secrets are in that little black book? So, any of my players have seen me with Moleskin books, and those books I usually just use for keeping session notes and tracking hit points during combat. My other little black book has all of the story that I've come up with for Ionia so far. Ionia is my personal campaign, and every conflict, every settlement that has important characters in it that the characters, as they come through that area, will encounter. Those people are in there with description and who they are and what they're doing and things like that. I've talked about story Bibles in other videos. That's basically Ionia's story Bible, where it's not a Bible per se, but it's basically all the rules that my world has to abide by. So that's that little secret book that you're not supposed to know about. My next question was, how do I keep backstories organized, and how much planning does that entail? Backstories really come down to the player. In a pre-written campaign, the show must go on. Basically, is the way that a pre-written campaign has to run. In Tomb of Annihilation, I had my players do a pre-quest before they started in Chult, and it starts out with a funeral for a friend, and that was the way to tie this whole group together instead of just having them be random strangers. That basically they all had this one connection to somebody who just died. One of my players decided that this person was going to be her father, and that allowed it to, anytime they encountered somebody else who was afflicted by this curse, it was an easy throwback to this was how your father looked in his final days. As far as keeping people organized, or keeping all these backstories organized, in the case of Ionia, I made it so that people were introduced to the world months before we started the campaign, and I let them pick where you're from and how your backstory affects the world. In a homebrew campaign, like, yes, I created that world, but it's the world that your character's living in. So your character should have some power in changing the world. And if things happen in their backstory that are going to come back and haunt them in the future, you would know about it, not the rest of the party. So it was something that I did one on one with each person, and am able to kind of pull from anytime I need a bit of like influence or insight into what that person's backstory was like, and bring it into the forefront for the rest of the players. It's something that I can pull from that one-on-one session. My next question was, how do I deal with a light RPer? And I think that I deal with a light RPer the same way I deal with a heavy RPer. You basically have to read the room, and if someone's a shy RPer or a light RPer or just I don't really RP, that's okay. And you can't force somebody into doing something that they're not comfortable with doing. So in that case, I just play the game, and everybody just has to play the game their way. And some people are super voice acty, and some people are just, this is what my character is going to do. And neither one of those is the wrong way to play. It's D&D. It's however you choose to have your game go. So my next question was, do I ever kill anybody off because I get tired of them? I don't ever kill anybody off because I'm tired of them. I have killed players. Obviously, it's not something that I'm happy about, but it does happen, and the dice are law, not me. So if the dice say that your character died, then your character died. And that's why you make your death saving throws, and I make the attack rolls. Because ultimately, your death saving throws are on you and your dice. That being said, I also am a person who believes that actions have consequences. And if your character gets a premonition from something that says, don't mess with that guy, or anything like that, and you still choose to mess with that guy, and that guy kills you, then you were warned and you just chose to not listen. But again, the dice have to do that work, not me. But I don't ever just outright kill somebody because I'm sick and tired of dealing with this character. And in another campaign that I ran for a very short time, I had somebody who said, I don't want to play this character anymore, and it was a paladin. And it was a very undead heavy campaign, and I decided that if you're going to turn your back on this character for no reason other than I don't want to play this character anymore, then that character is going to go away, but he's going to come back later as an antagonist at some point. So my last question was, what's next? And I think for me, the biggest thing is I want to get back into Curse of Strahd, and I want to take the growth that I made in Curse of Strahd and the changes that I made and expand on it even more. I want to bring a lot of Strahd's history into the campaign and have him have other antagonists other than the party that are just as evil as he is, but are fighting with him for power, and have that be something that is another issue for the party to deal with, and stretch this campaign into something bigger than just 1 to 13, 1 to 10, 1 to 15, something like that. Have it be a full 1 to 20, and incorporate the full map of Barovia instead of just the small one that is in the campaign itself. Other than that, I'm super excited about Ionia and having the players that are running through that explore and defeat the enemies that I've created, the threats that are there, the conflicts that are there, picking a side between, option A and option B, as opposed to just, well, obviously the book's going to want us to do option A because that's the good guys. Giving them the option of taking option A or taking option B, and I think that that's important for me. And having that world just be something that is mine, that I created, and allowing people to just use it as their playground. So that's going to be it for this week. My next video is going to be about the Grim Hollows Player's Guide. I just got that a couple weeks ago, and I'm still trying to dig through everything that came in this massive box. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you soon.